What's up everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to talk over some gameplay where me and my teammates actually played 5 Tracers and a single Lucio. And the reason why I want to talk over this gameplay is because I want to talk about the topic of hero switching and stacking multiple heroes on a team. So as you can tell, I played this game and I was like, okay, you know what, let's try to get everyone to play the same hero. So, 5 of us picked Tracer. We had one Lucio because he just didn't want to play Tracer, and we thought, it would work because he could make us go faster. And so we thought we were going to completely dominate and win the entire game in, a few seconds because, hero stacking is really good. And this match, I feel, just shows perfectly everything that Jeff Kaplan, and all the other devs have been talking about when they try to defend the choice of, not limiting switching heroes or not limiting how many people you can have on a team. And the reason I say this is because, as you'll tell in a second, we're going to get this point really fast, and, you'll kind of see what happens after that. But pretty much what, the Overwatch dev team has pretty much been saying all this time is they don't think that the game needs to be, limited in how many heroes you can have per team or how many times you can switch characters. And the reason being is because they built the game ground up with, this idea in mind. And, they're like, oh, well, if the entire team picks Tracer like we did, then, they can easily be countered, and that's what ended up happening. When you see, we're going to get this point really fast. We just completely start dominating. I think this is the one push that we actually get the capture point, and yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not going to get contested. So we capture the point, and we're all happy. We're like, okay, let's go cap the next point. We're gonna get it in another 2 seconds, like we did the last point. Last point. And so we start going. We kind of get halted a little bit, but we're doing it. Most of us are on fire. I think. I know I am, but we kind of go in there and we try to take them out. And so what ends up happening is we're gonna start dominating here. That's just what's gonna happen. But slowly, if you pay attention, they are going to slowly start picking heroes that actually counter us. And so right here, you're like, oh, you guys are about to capture the point. You're about to capture it. They picked a Winston. Notice that pick. That is really important. He kind of stopped us, but we're still in there fighting. We kill some people. There's another Winston. You see that? So now they have 2 Winstons. They sent out 2 Winstons at us, but we're still like, we got this. We have so many Tracers, we got this. We're about to win, right? Right? And then the Mercy ulted. And all the Winstons came back. Another one just came from spawn, and now at this point, they have like 4 Winstons. They have 4 Winstons, and I believe 4 Winstons, a Pharah, and a Mercy. As the Mercy just rezzed all of them. And so what we pretty much try to do here is we just keep on trying to push, but we can't. We can't get anything done, even though we need that 1/3 of the B point objective left. That's all we need, but we can't do it because they countered us. We were so easily countered by a pub. Now imagine if this was a competitive team, in a tournament or something. You try to pull something like this, the second they see 6 Tracers, or even, 3 Tracers, they're going to pop a Winston, or they're going to pop other people that counters them, because we just can't shoot through those shields. And considering all of our, all of us are Tracers for the most part, we all need to be able to hit the people, but if they're being blocked by the shield, we can't do anything. And so I kind of just wanted to show off this video because it just shows perfectly so well what the dev team means when they're like, you can counter, it's a huge part of this game, because stacking all Lucios or stacking all Tracers isn't overpowered or anything. It's just seems so strong and unexpected, but the thing is like it's shown here, you can counter it so easily. And we eventually start getting frustrated. We're like, this isn't working, and I think a few of us switch characters. You'll actually see me switch at some point during this game. But, we're still trying. We got 5.5 minutes, and we just really want to get this point. We want to, finish the stacking Tracer team composition and kind of make a cool video and I get a terrible ult right there. I barely touched a Winston. It might have had something to do with the fact that they all had shields, you know, countering Tracer even more. But we can't do anything. And like everyone's been saying, when they try to, you know, attack, attack the idea of being able to have multiple heroes on a team, they're like, oh, you know, it's overpowered. Why couldn't you just have 6 Pharahs and just never be able to be shot? And it's like, you want to know why? Because the enemy team could pick Hanzos, they could pick Widowmakers, they could pick Roadhogs, they can do anything to counter you. They just have to be even a little bit competent and understand who counters who. And I feel like that also adds another depth to the game, because if you had to lock in your characters at the very, very, very beginning and not be able to switch at all, and you couldn't have multiple of the same people on a team, the game just would have a lot less depth to it. There wouldn't be this, you know, strategy of, oh, you know, maybe we should pick up a Junkrat to do some splash damage. There's nothing like that. And another thing, you know, some people take this like, oh, that's a bad thing. You know, I don't want to have to constantly be worried about countering other people and, you know, just this kind of like rock, paper, scissors of a game. It's like, I don't want to have to do that. But the thing is you don't. The only time you really switch characters is when you're like, okay, you know, maybe my character is not being the most effective, or dang, they're stomping us. Normally you're not going to constantly be checking the scoreboard and running back to base and, you know, changing your character, because that's just not how it works. It's not going to work that way. You know, you play the game, you enjoy it, you get your ultimates, and, you know, if you need to switch, it's there. It's not something that you have to constantly be worried about. It's not like an oxygen tank in a water level. It's not a, you know, nuisance. And I feel like, you know, so many times people have been explained, you know, on Reddit and stuff, that it's not a good thing, you know, locking heroes, it's not a good thing. There's reasons why the game is built with it in mind, you know, all these things, and I feel like people don't understand it, because I was trying to actually go in and just have a really, really fun time, and actually I switched to Pharah here because I was very ticked off we couldn't do anything, and I think, you know, we had 2 other Pharahs because we're like, oh, maybe that counters Winston, let's try doing something like that, and it ended up not working at all in the slightest. So eventually we tried to switch to a normal team composition, but by that time it was way too late. And so I just feel like a lot of people don't really get the idea of, you know, hero switching and why it's kind of important. And I feel like, you know, I just wanted to show off to you guys that it's a thing. Like, it's not the most overpowered thing in the world to have 6 Tracers, because what I was planning on doing originally was to get into a match, get 6 Tracers, or, you know, 5 Tracers and a Lucio, and just run in 2-3 seconds, and I was going to be like, yeah, funny video, you know, put up on my video channel. But that wasn't the case, and it actually made me think a lot about what people have been saying, and that kind of caused me to want to create this video. And, you know, if you personally think that the game should have, you know, some sort of competitive mode, and, you know, there should be no hero switching and no, you know, multiple people on each team, you know, I'm not saying like you're a terrible person for believing that. I'm gonna not have to agree with you on that. I can't imagine not being able to switch characters, because now imagine this. You know, in Dota, there's, you know, drafting, and a lot of people are like, oh, I want, you know, drafting, or not drafting, yeah, I think it's drafting, where, you know, you pick and ban, that kind of thing. And a lot of people are like, oh, that'd be fun to have in Overwatch. But now, the thing is in Dota and League of Legends, and here's the storm, the game is built around that. It's not an FPS, it's completely different, and when people try to compare the game to a MOBA, I feel like that's also where a lot of the, not confusion, but a lot of the opinions on why they shouldn't be multiple people on each team, or there should be switching, because they're like, oh, well, you know, Dota 2 doesn't have it, or League of Legends doesn't have it, or Here's the Storm doesn't have it. And you just need to think about this game as, just think of it kind of like TF2. You know, what would TF2 be like if you couldn't switch characters and you couldn't have multiple people on each team? Like, that wouldn't be very fun. Going into a match and just picking heavy and then not being able to switch, like, that just doesn't sound fun to me. And playing Overwatch, not being able to switch characters doesn't sound as fun to me either. And so that's the main purpose behind making this video, just kind of to put some visual evidence out there of a single example of why stacking 6 tracers on a team isn't the most overpowered thing in the world. And I hope if you do, you know, think that hero switching maybe isn't the best thing in the world, or, you know, if you think hero switching isn't the best thing in the world, I hope maybe this changed your mind a little bit. But, you know, feel free to, you know, talk to me in the comments down below. I'd love to have some discussions with you. Kind of want to know what you guys think. And so pretty much here, I just switched back to Tracer because I was like, oh, maybe I can go jump on the point real fast, because otherwise I wasn't going to get there in time. But we just didn't make it. We ultimately lost because we picked 6 Tracers, and they simply, all they had to do was get Winstons. You know, 2 to 3 Winstons countered us when we had the entire Tracer team. And that's kind of showing off what I feel kind of about this game. So that's just my opinions. You are free to have yours. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more Overwatch content and news. And like always, guys, see you next time.